Welcome into part two of making a Space Dodger game from PyGame. If you remember if you've watched the last video, we made this moving star field that has the stars moving at different speeds, trying to get this parallax. Today we're going to look at um, moving the ship up, down, left, and right, and then how to make sure it doesn't go off the screen, up or down. It won't go off the bottom, and it'll only go up so far to the top. So let's go ahead and take the same code that we had from lesson one, where we made the stars. In my IDE, I've just shrunk it down or collapsed it. So we're going to make another class, and it's a class called ship. And we're going to do the same thing that we did in the stars. We're going to have a definition, a function that initializes it. So we're going to do def underscore underscore init underscore underscore, and then in the parentheses we're going to put self, comma screen width, comma screen height. And then we've got to set the self images. And let me go ahead and show you here. I have, because I want to create a little animation effect, I also want the ship to look different. It's going left, right, front, or back. So I have two guys for ship right, two images, and then I have two for ship left. I have two for ship forward, and then I have one for the ship when it's kind of backing up or at idle. So to follow along with the tutorial, you would need 7 images. You can adjust the video to or the images if you don't want to use so many, but we're going to create a collection of self.images, and we're going to open and close with a curly bracket. We're going to have a key and definition. We have default, ship forward, left, ship left 1, right, ship right 1, left, ship left 2, right 2, ship right 2, up 1, ship up 1, up 2, ship up 2. On yours, if your IDE probably won't show them as blue because they don't exist yet, but these are going to be called references to where we import pictures. We're going to have a self.image where we're going to do self.image. We want to start off with the default picture. We've got to get the rectangle from the image, so self-rect is self.image.getRectangle. We're going to create a mask so we can have collisions. So that's self.mask, and that's going to equal PyGame.mask from underscore surface, and we're going to pass in the self image. Then we're going to set self screen width to screen width, self screen height to screen height, and then we're going to find the center, which would be self rect center x equals screen width divided by 2. And then self-rect bottom, we're going to set at screen height minus 10, which basically means we're going to start 10 pixels above, we're going to be 10 pixels above the bottom of the screen, and then we're going to have a self.speed equals 5. And speed is how we are going to move the object left, right, forward, or back. So now we got to create a definition for move, so we can move around. So it's going to be def move, and we're going to pass in self comma direction, and then we're just going to have some else if else. So if direction equals left, make sure left's in quotes. Then we are going to ask, is the self rectangle dot left greater than 0, which basically means we are not going to run the command to go left if the left side of our spaceship is touching 0. And then, which is the left side of the screen. And then we're going to do self rect.x, and x makes us go left or right. We're going to subtract self speed, which basically says we're going to move left 5 velocity every frame count, or 5 pixels every frame count. And then I created this random add method because I want to alternate the images. So it gives a kind of a flicker effect of the fire. A random underscore add equals random dot choice. And then we pass in, inside the parentheses, we pass in a collection in this bracket, square brace, 1 comma 3. If the image is, if random add equals 1, then we're going to do the image left 1. Else we're going to do self image left 2. And then we're going to repeat the same thing over and over for each direction. Here we're going to do if direction is right, and the right side of our ship is less than the screen width, meaning we're only going to run this code if you've pressed right, but we haven't gone right to where we're touching the screen. Again, this time it's going to add. It's going to move 5 pixels to the right for every frame count. And again, we're reusing that random method. If it's a 1, we're going to use the right 1 image. If it's 2, we're going to use the right 2 image. Same thing here with up. If the command is up and the top of our object is not higher than 350 frames from the bottom, then we can go up. If the top of our ship is at 350 pixels from the bottom, we can't go up anymore. Again, we're using the random choice to alternate between the up and down image. Then we're going to do another else if, same thing with down. This time we're checking to make sure the bottom of our ship is not less than 10 pixels from the bottom. And so if we're not pressing any keys up, down, left, or right, then it's going to continue to use this up, down picture. And then we want to end by putting a mask over whichever image we're currently using so that we can do collision. So self.mask equals pygame.mask.fromSurface. We're passing the self image. And then finally, we're going to have a definition for draw. We just pass in self in the screen, and then we screen.blit self.image, comma, self.rect. And so that gets us our initializing of a ship. That gets us our moving of the ship, and then it gets us our drawing of the ship. Then we're going to create some variables. If you'll remember the last time, we created these 2 variables. Screen width is 600, screen height is 80% of the screen height of our computer. We're going to add a base size, which is a round number screen height times 1.1111, which basically means I want my base size to be 1/9 of my window. I'm going to set height and width to that size. We had already created screen in the previous tutorial. Here is where we import the images. And so for each of those variables that I had here, ship forward, left 1, right 1, left 2, right 2, up 1, up 2, I'm importing them here using, in this example, I create ship forward, and then I do pygame.image.load. I pass in the name of my PNG that lives in the same folder that my main method, my main Python file is in, and then I use .convert alpha. This is going to be very important because I'm using transparent background images, and so if I didn't do this, the square that holds my spaceship, if that square was touched in the collision, it would make a collision. It also lets me see if a star passes by, there would be kind of a black spot, and the star would disappear before it got behind the ship. But using alpha, only my ship is going to interact in collisions, and only my ship is going to be seen over background images. Then I have a second set where I transform each one of my images and scale it to this new height, new width. That way, no matter what size my image is, it's the size I want it to be on the screen. So if I use a really big image, it'll make it small. If I use a really small image, it'll make it big. And just like we initialized our star field, we also have to initialize our ship. And so we're just going to create a ship. Ship equals ship. And then it's screen width times screen height. And then we're going to add to our while loop. Underneath our for event where we look for that quit, we're going to put in this code right here and make sure it's lined up with the for and not inside the for. And we're going to do keys equal pygame.key.getPressed. That's a method, and then we're going to just cycle through the 4 keys we care about, and that is we're going to check to see if pygame key underscore left, and if so, we're going to do ship.move and we're going to pass left. If we do, we'll do an else if key right is pressed, then we're going to pass in ship.move right. If we're going to, if key up is passed, we're going to pass an up, key down is passed down. And if we don't do anything, we just want the default image to be used. And again, if we go back up here and look at this, that's where we're telling it, we're saying, hey, left, do this, right, do this, up, do this, down, do this. And then if we don't pass in anything, or we pass in default, we'll do this. And then just like we moved our stars, and then we filled the screen, and then we drew our star field, we are going to add this line right here, and we're going to call this ship.draw. Ship.draw, we're going to pass in the string, and if we've done all that correctly, we will be able to move up, and we're at 350 there, we're at 0 there, we're at screen width here, and we're -10 from the bottom here. And that's the next step in the code. You'll follow us for the next lesson. We will look at adding obstacles like meteors, satellites, astronauts that will fly down and will be generated randomly just like these stars are. Thank you, and I hope to see you at the next lesson.